judges are also sometimes called the so-called judges.
Mr. Mnisi, just have a bit of respect.
Yes, it is the court, my lord.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I deserve to be respected.
Yes.
I'm 78 years old. I've been 50 years in the profession.
Yes, my lord.
I'm sure I deserve to be respected.
As it is the court, my lord.
I understand, my lord. I've been practicing for 100 years. The state is dominant litigation.
Mshololo, I've been on the bench for 20 years. I've practiced as an attorney for 30 years. I've never ever been accused of being a crook or dishonest.
My lord, I'm also an advocate.
Yeah, fine. Please don't answer me, please.
I'm also defending the accused.
Yeah.
We all have different experiences.
Yeah, of course. The arresting statement.
My lord, I object.
Hello?
My lord, I object on the basis of fairness, that the witness cannot be referred to the statement that was made by the arresting officer.
Which statement must he be referred to?
The statement that has just been read into the
Yeah,
record.
which, yeah, I hear you.
It was made by the
Arresting officer.
Arresting officer, not in front of this witness. He has no knowledge of the statement.
No, fine. I never said he has knowledge of whatever. I just said, where is the arresting statement? Mr. Sebande, hello, just stand up. You told this court that there is an arresting statement. Hello?
Yes, because
Right.
he requested for it.
I'm not involved in wanting somebody to go to jail. Now, after that, Mr. Sibia says, no, if you can show me that arresting statement, if you can show it to me. Then I said, where is it? Apparently he had given it to the lady there. Took time to get it. After he gets it, I say, apparently this is what they say is the arresting statement. And then I read it into the record. That's all I did.
My lord,
And you say it's unfair.
my lord, with due respect, my lord, I understand what the lordship is.
Don't accuse me of being a crook.
No, my lord, I'm not.
No, just listen to me. You must never. I've been 50 years in the profession. I've never been accused of being a crook.
My lord, I'm not accusing this.
What are you
court.
accusing me of?
But my lord, I am asking this court to listen to this. The accused, when he said, unless if I can be showed a statement wherein I was arrested on that day. Then my question is, my lord, the statement that has been presented, my lord, to the accused, is not the statement that was made by the accused. It was made by the arresting office.
Nobody said the accused made an arresting statement. He's not a policeman. What are you saying?
As the court reads.
Oh, it's long since him, eh? Just wait, Mr. Minister, just sit down. This witness never said he made an arresting statement. Don't misconstrue Izintolak, please.
Hey, tada, we are back with another video. The page, it is South African Late News. What I've just played there are clips of Judge Ratha throwing tantrums because he was upset about something said by either Advocate Mshololo, Advocate Mnisi, or Attorney Ramusepile. The point I'm trying to prove you is that Judge Ratha is not emotionally fit to be a judge. Ratha is not fit and proper to be a judge. Yes, I've said it. He keeps on telling us that he's got a 50 years experience in legal businesses. However, his actions in court shows otherwise. A judge will always be composed and calm in difficult times. But when it's Ratha, he gets angry and emotional. You heard in the last clip, he even said "Nca" to Mshololo because he was upset about something that Mshololo had said. A professional judge would not say "Nca." Not even a judge, a manager at a workplace, if he says "Nca" to you, he could be charged for improper conduct. That is in the real world. However, we know Judge Ratha is liked and protected by the JP. He can do whatever he wants. But you must also remember that Ratha also insulted Advocate Mnisi when Mnisi wanted a day off so that he can recover after running a comedy marathon. I'm sure you've forgotten about that. I'll remind you in the end. I'll play that clip so you can hear him. He said, "Is this how black judges behave under black government?" What type of a judge would say that? So as we close the year, I want to remind you that this case does not have a judge. It was a mistake by the JP to appoint someone that is so old and onenkani njengoJudge Ratha. In that clip, you've heard him saying, he is 78 years old. He deserves some respect. Come on, man. If you are 78 years old, you've got no reason to be in court. You should be playing with his grandkids and enjoying his pension. But now he came back to this court and he will tarnish his image because whatever he has done in this case, it will destroy his legacy forever. Had he stayed at home and disregarded the request to come and be a judge for this case, no one would know him. But because he accepted the invitation by UJP, we are in this mess now. And the worst thing is that whenever there's an objection in court, when somebody say Nis object or Baloyi object, Ratha will never make a ruling. He'll just say, okay, let's proceed. As a judge, if someone says, my lord, I object to what Nis is saying, then Ratha is expected to make a ruling and say, Nisi withdraw that, or Baloyi objection sustained or overruled. He makes a ruling. But in this case, Ratha never makes a ruling. He just says, okay, let's proceed. That is highly irregular for a judge. But Singatin, we're in this mess because of JP. We're in this mess because of JP. And I already know that he's going to find these guys guilty of unaliving Senzomiyo. So the only hope that I have is that the defense will then take his decision on appeal in Bloemfontein Supreme Court of Appeal. That is where these accused will have justice. If he was a fair judge, Ratha would not have accepted those confessions because of the way they were obtained. Remember that Bobo Andan said the only reason that he confessed was to save his life. The same reason that was told by Musibiya. And in the case of Musibiya, we know for the fact that they drove around from about 6 p.m. up until the morning. So Sibiya signed the confession in the early hours of the morning. So you tell me what was happening during the night. Obviously, they were torturing Musibiya so that they can soften up, and then he eventually confessed. That was their entire plan, to just harass Musibiya, torture him, use the plastic bag until he confessed. That was the whole plan. And you must remember that Gininda, who was the lead investigator in this case, was also accused of torture in the case of Ratha. So these allegations against Gininda are not new. So if there's a trend, it would tell something would know. These guys are possibly telling the truth. Remember, in the case of Ratha, one accused also told the court that Gininda and his team tortured him so that he can confess and implicate Ratha. But that guy refused to confess, unlike Abu Musibiya and Boandans. So there's a history of Brigadier Gininda doing things in the wrong way. And nothing has been done about this. And remember, in the Malanga Commission of Inquiry, the court case unit, which is led by Brigadier Gininda, was mentioned. We were told that Gininda and his teams wanted to take the case of this engineer that was allegedly unalived by the man of Katim Leaf, allegedly. That is Mr. Bani Amanswart. We were told that the court case unit wanted to take that docket. For what reason, we don't know. But I'm sure the court case unit wanted to cook and implicate the wrong man for that killing of Mr. Swart. However, Gininda and his team failed to get hold of that docket. But I'm happy because it was put on record in the Malanga Commission of Inquiry that the court case unit wanted to put their hands in that matter of Mr. Swart. If they had done so, maybe they would have arrested and implicated the wrong accused instead of Uketi Molefe, who is allegedly the one that is the mastermind. Allegedly, it's the key word. I'm not saying he did it. I'm saying that is the allegation that is made by Mkwanas as well as the NPA when he appeared in court. So we can see that the court case units under Brigadier Gininda has this tendency of doing these shenanigans and so on. So Abontans and Sibiya had no chance against Brigadier Gininda because these guys are very experienced in doing things that are thuggish or thuggish behavior. So the case will resume on the 19th of January, and the defense is still presenting its case. As you know, that Ukwabini now still on the stand, but now there's this issue about his statement. So ulona uyabuya Brigadier Gininda nabo Mahona nabo Maphumulo to tell the court ukuthi how did they arrest Ukwabini. Hello, Ukwabini says he only signed that confession, not confession statement, because the police had tortured him. Same thing that was said by Abobani, Ntanzi, and Musibiya. So Ukwabini was tortured, Ntanzi was tortured, and then Absolute Mzungu told the court that he was threatened. He said he was kidnapped, taken somewhere in Pumalanga so that he can just sign that statement that implicated accused number 1 and 2. So you can see that if Gininda does not have evidence, his team will do anything to scare potential witnesses so that they can get a confession. That is the whole thing about this court case unit, Gininda and him. They are just a rogue unit. They are not different to that Mano what team that was led by Boyson. Those people that need to be investigated. I'm disappointed that the case of Meyiwa has not been referred to Madlanga Commission because the behavior of the police is very suspicious. If, let's say, Gininda and others were brought before the Madlanga Commission, they were going to be queried there. They were going to be quizzed and have difficult time, just like Uchulas Mkwanas, because those people there at Madlanga Commission, they don't play around. Abadlali. Just ask Ulo, Brown Mahot and Julius Mkwanas. After they fight, you could see that they were tired. They were emotionally tired because those commissioners at Madlanga Commission, they don't play. Abadlali. So I was hoping that Gininda and these co-police officers would have been called there to account for the treatment of the witnesses in the Senzimanga case, as well as in other cases like the case of Ratha and Kreitzer, because several allegations have been made against Brigadier Gininda, but no actions to date. So the case resumes on the 19th of January 2026, and I can't wait. I'm sure that Umnisi has lined up good witnesses after Ukwabini that will help the defense to create more reasonable doubt in the state case. Remember that, Pella, the defense does not need to prove that these guys are innocent. They merely have to prove that what they are saying is possibly true. In other words, they have to create reasonable doubt. And I believe they've done so far because, one, the gun issue. The state is confused. Mangena is saying the gun that shot Senzomiwa is a 9mm. But the eyewitnesses that were in the house says the gun that shot Senzomiwa had a will, meaning that it's a revolver. So the state witnesses are contradicting each other there. So that would create a reasonable doubt. Secondly, the telephone records that Kanda Mngube says at the same time when Senzomiwa was shot, Kanda Mngube's cell phone pinged in Johannesburg CBD, meaning that Mngube was not in Vosloorus. So he can't be in two places at once because he is not the Holy Spirit. So it is impossible for Kanda to have shot Senzo if he was in Johannesburg CBD. So that should create reasonable doubt about the guy that shot Senzomiwa. Remember that if, let's say, Kanda Mngube is cleared, then the rest of the guys will be cleared because they are charged in common purpose. So if Kanda Mngube was not there, then it means everyone else was not there. Then thirdly, the third thing is that the DNA evidence. The DNA expert came to court and said all 5 men before court were excluded from the sample taken from the crime scene, meaning that these guys were not at the crime scene when Senzomiwa was shot. The DNA expert said they are excluded, meaning that they were not there. So if you were not there, then it is impossible for them to have shot Sesmayu. That is the crux of the matter. The DNA evidence is the third thing that creates reasonable doubt. A fair judge would acquit these guys because the DNA evidence clears them. The hat that was found at the crime scene, we were told that it was dropped by one of the intruders. However, when they tested the DNA evidence on that hat, they found the DNA in the hat belonged to a woman. And we know that Ntanzi and Kadamncube are not women, they are men. Unless Baskotso Ntanzi, maybe Baba Father says, but in our eyes, Kadamncube and Ntanzi are men. We were told that those two were the intruders. So the hat found in the crime scene should contain the DNA of one of the two. But the DNA in that hat belonged to a woman. So that clears Kadamncube, it clears Ntanzi. And it therefore creates reasonable doubt in the state case. So the judge, he will have to acquit them because there's too much doubt in this case. And then we have fourthly, we have the statement which says Utumela Madlala phoned uMhlophe and told him that Senzo has been shot by Longotwala Ngephutha, allegedly. So if a witness says Usenzo was shot by Longo, then that creates more doubt in state case. So the judge has to acquit. It should tell the judge, maybe these guys are not guilty after all. Maybe it's Longo who shot Senzo. So there's that doubt that should be lingering in the judge's mind. So therefore, I'm hopeful that once this matter is done and dusted, the accused will be found not guilty because there is too much doubt in this case. That can either happen at the Supreme Court of Appeal if Ratha finds them guilty or wherever, but there is too much reasonable doubt in this case. However, you've heard the tantrums by Ratha. Now I'm going to play you the audio where he said something bad about black judges, and then we end the video. Thank you for watching.
I must go and tell the JP. When the JP asked me, why were you not sitting, or the DJP, why were you not sitting on Monday? No, we're waiting for Advocate Nisi to come drive back to Joburg, to wherever, because he was running a marathon. This is South Africa, run by blacks. I can tell you now, even if you call me an Uncle Tom, I don't think a white advocate can have the gall to ask me that. Never.